Hi guys. Right. Hi guys. Welcome to AVKS Academy. So, as a part of the general science topic, today we are going to discuss about the case of chemistry. So, when you're talking about the case of chemistry, from the examination point of view for CBF examinations, first and foremost thing is that we need to discuss, or you need to be aware of certain topics which we are using in the general day-to-day science or else the general day-to-day life. The questions that are appearing in the case of your chemistry part, most of the questions they are appearing from the general day-to-day life scenario. Right? Now for example, suppose that if I ask about a particular question like this, the chemical that is being used by the police department in the case of breath analyzers. Now everyone, we have seen the case of breath analyzers, right? That is being used throughout the country by the police department to check the alcohol levels. Whether a person has consumed alcohol or not, to identify that one we are using a breath analyzer. So what is the chemical that is being used in that particular device, which you are calling it as a breath analyzer, right? So that particular question, you don't find that particular question in any of the textbooks. Maybe up to your 10th standard or maybe up to your 12th standard, we don't find that particular questions. So that particular question is the one which is appearing in a general day-to-day life. What is happening there, right? At the same time, you're talking about the case of your cooking gas. Now, whenever you find gas leakage, there is a certain amount of smell that comes out, right? Why is the smell that is coming out? Is it because of the gases that are present in that? Generally, when you're talking about the case of LPG cylinders, we talk about the case of butane and the propane, which are present in abundant, which are present in the major ratio. But is that particular smell which is coming out because of the gas leakage, is it because of that particular butane, or else is it because of propane, right? Or else is it because of any other chemical? Now these are the things which some of the things which are appearing in the day-to-day life. So we need to think, we need to study the concept, at the same time the questions or the topics that are arising in our day-to-day life. At the same time, suppose that you're talking about the case of contact lenses. So the moment you're talking about the case of contact lenses, the one that we are using in your eye, basically it's a very rubber type material, smooth material. So what is that particular material made of? At the same time, what is the chemical that we are using in the case of a shampoo? Right? Now we are talking about the case of your Head and Shoulders or else Pantene or Sunsilk or any particular shampoo. Right? So what is the chemical that we are using in that particular case? Any of the shampoos that we are using. At the same time, as on date, we talk about the case of your glycerin soaps. The moment the months of your November, December or the winter season arises, the people start using the glycerin based soaps. So what is the chemical that is present in the case of a glycerin based soaps? So these are the things which we need to focus. At the same time, you need to focus on the basic concepts which are present in your school textbooks. The school textbooks up to your 10th or the 12th standards. Right? So when talking about the case of chemistry, so we have got different topics that we are going to discuss here. One is matter. Then you talk about the case of atomic structure. Atomic structure. We talk about chemical bonding. Then you talk about acids and bases. Then you talk about the periodic classification. Then oxidation and reduction. In simple terms, the chemical kinetics. Instead of saying oxidation, reduction, the balancing of equations, all those things we simply call it as the chemical kinetics. At the same time, organic chemistry to some extent, not in depth. Keeping in view the examination point of view, we'll be discussing the organic chemistry. At the same time, the everyday science. Now this particular everyday science, it includes polymers, it includes soaps and detergents, it includes the glass industry, the cement industry. So in the what we are using in the case of glass industry, what we are using in the case of your cement industry, at the same time the different types of additives that we are using in the case of your food industry, preservatives that we are adding, the preservatives that we are using in the case of your food industries, right? So all those things we'll be discussing in the case of your everyday science. So one thing is very clear. So as long as we are talking about the case of your chemistry, we need to focus on the concepts, of these topics. At the same time, the most important part is the case of everyday science. The most important part is everyday science, right? Then, moving on to the case of the first topic, that is matter. So moving on to the first topic, matter. What is matter? Now we all are discussing what is matter right from the school level, right from the basic levels, right? What is matter? Now we all know that what is matter, right? Anything that has got certain amount of mass, anything that occupies some amount of space, that is what we call it as matter. Anything which is occupying mass, anything which is having certain amount of occupying certain amount of space, that is what we are calling it as matter. And this particular matter, generally when you talk about the case of matter, we talk about the three different states of matter. But basically, matter exists in 5 different forms. One is the solid form, liquid, solids, liquids, gases, then the plasma state, at the same time the Bose-Einstein condensate state, Bose-Einstein condensate state. So these are the 5 different types of matter, but generally from the examination point of view, we'll be discussing only about the solids, liquids and gases. The basic reason, the simple reason is that the properties of these particular, the plasma state as well as the Bose-Einstein condensate state are not up to the mark or not developed to the complete extent, for the fullest extent. At the same time, they are not included in the school syllabus. One of the reasons, right? Now, when talking about the case of solids, the first one, you're talking about the case of solids. So when talking about the case of solids, what is a solid material? Now we all have seen what are solids, we all know what are solids. Now suppose that when you take the case of any particular substance, right? Suppose that I'm taking the case of a particular material which I'm calling it as a piece of iron, a piece of steel, right? Or else gold, silver, any particular material, right? Now suppose that this particular material is having a shape like this. Now in this particular case, which is having a shape like this, all the atoms and molecules, they will be present in this particular structure like this. The atoms and molecules, they are present very tightly packed, they are present very closely packed with respect to one another, right? The amount of space between these two, between any two atoms is very much less. Since they are very much closely packed, since they are very much rigidly packed, these particular atoms, they cannot move from one point to another point. The movement of these particular atoms is very much restricted, right? But the atoms of this particular substance, they can simply vibrate about their mean position, right? The atoms of a particular solid cannot move, right? Cannot move from this point to this point, or else they can leave the lattice. It's not that. But the thing is that provided you are giving certain amount of energy, the atoms of a particular substance, they just keep on vibrating about their mean position. They keep on vibrating about their own mean position. Now these particular solids, they have got well-defined melting points as well as the boiling points. Now if they have got well-defined melting points as well as the boiling points. Now it depends upon the nature of the material. So when talking about the case of a solid substance, suppose that I'm talking about the case of iron, it has got melting point, right? Iron starts melting at one particular point. But at the same time, suppose that you're talking about the case of camphor. Camphor also exists in the case of solid form. Naphthalene also exists in the form of solid form. But that particular material which you are calling as camphor or naphthalene, the moment you are exposing to air, it simply converts to vapor. So it depends upon the nature, it depends upon the physical properties as well as the chemical properties. Now these particular substances which we are calling it as solids, right? If at all the temperature of a solid increase, if at all the temperature of a solid is increased, then this particular solid gets converted from solid form to liquid form. If the temperature is decreased, then this particular liquid material undergoes freezing. It freezes and then it gets again converted to the solid form. Then, when you talk about the case of liquids, now these particular liquids, the distance between the atoms or molecules in a particular liquid is slightly more when compared to solids, right? The distance is slightly more when compared to the case of solids. The distance between atoms and molecules in a particular liquid is slightly more when compared to the case of solids. That is the reason why these particular liquids, they do not have specific shape. They always take the shape of a particular container in which they are stored or else in which they are poured, right? So they always take the shape of a container, because here in the case of a liquids, the distance between the distance between the two atoms is slightly high when compared to the case of solids. Now these particular liquids, when you are heating them, they get converted to the gaseous state. At the same time, the volume that is occupied by a liquid, is slightly high when compared to the volume that is occupied by solids. The volume occupied by liquid is slightly high when compared to the volume that is occupied by solids, with an exception to water, right? With an exception to water. Water has got certain amount of exceptions. That is what we have discussed in the case of anomalous expansion of water. Anomalous expansion of water. Water, when you are heating from 0 degrees centigrade to 4 degrees centigrade, water when you are heating from 0 degrees centigrade to 4 degrees centigrade, it undergoes contraction instead of expansion. It undergoes contraction instead of expansion. At 4 degrees centigrade, water has got minimum volume as well as maximum density, right? So generally when talking about the case of liquids, so the volume of a liquid is slightly high when compared to the volume of a solid, with an exception to water. With an exception to water. We are not considering water here. So except water, any other liquids. Or else, even if you consider water, that the temperature of water should be high when compared to this particular range. So in that particular range, you can consider about water also. Then, when you talk about the case of gases. Now in the case of gases, the distance between the molecules of a particular gas, is very much high when compared to the case of solids as well as liquids. Right? So the distance is very much high when compared to solids as well as liquids. At the same time, they also take the shape of a container. The container, whatever it is, whether you are taking the case of a particular glass jar, which is completely closed, or else whether you are taking the case of a particular cylinder, or else whether you are taking the case of a balloon, or any particular object, for instance, right? It always takes the shape of a particular container. At the same time, the moment you are heating a particular gas, it undergoes expansion. And the expansion of gases is high with respect to the case of expansion of liquids. At the same time, the expansion of solids. The moment you are increasing the temperature, of a particular gas, it undergoes expansion. So the expansion of gases is slightly high when compared to the case of liquids, when compared to the case of solids. Now this is one of the reasons, right? Now this is one of the reasons why we have said that gas thermometers are more effective when compared to the liquid thermometers, Gas thermometers are more effective when compared to liquid thermometers. Why? Because the expansion of gases is high when compared to the case of liquids. Now these particular gases, any particular gas, when you are liquefying that one, when you are reducing the temperature of a particular gas, it gets converted to liquid. So in simple terms we say that, whenever you are heating a solid, it gets converted to liquid. Liquid, when you are still further heating it, it gets converted to the vapor form. Then at the same time, the same vapor, when you are cooling down, right, when you are letting a particular vapor to cool down, it gets converted to liquid, and when liquid is allowed to cool down, it gets converted to the solid form. Which means these particular three states of matter is a continuous cyclic process. Right. Then, when talking about the case of classification of matter, how matter is being classified, the classification of matter, right? So basically, when you're talking about the case of matter, the matter exists. When you're classifying this, you classify matter into two different cases. One is the pure substances. The matter is being classified into two cases. One is the pure substances, as well the other one is mixtures. Pure substances as well as mixtures. Now these particular pure substances, you further classify them into metals. Pure substances, you are further classified, pure substances, you are further classifying them into elements. And these particular elements, you further classify them into three different categories. One is metals, the other one non-metals, metals, non-metals, at the same time metalloids. Right? Now these particular mixtures you classify them into two different cases. You classify them into one is mixtures, you are classifying them into compounds. Mixtures, we classify them into the homogeneous mixtures as well as the heterogeneous mixtures. Mixtures, we classify them into homogeneous as well as the heterogeneous mixtures. Raju, time should sir. Time. Last bit. 17 minutes. Right. So, then we moving on to the classification of matter. Then moving on to classification of matter. So when talking about the case of classification of matter, matter generally we classify this one into two different cases. One is the case of your pure substances. One is the case of pure substances, and the other one we talk about as mixtures. Pure substances as well as mixtures. Now these particular pure substances, you further classify them into elements as well as compounds. Pure substances are further classified into elements and compounds. At the same time, the mixtures, they are classified into two different types. One is the homogeneous mixture, the other one heterogeneous mixture. Homogeneous as well as the heterogeneous mixture. Now these particular elements you further classify them into, first one, metals, non-metals, at the same time metalloids. Metals, non-metals, at the same time metalloids. Then we're talking about the case of compounds. Compounds, you further classify them into organic substances, the other one inorganic substances. organic as well as inorganic. Now this is the way how we classify matter. So first thing, matter, when you're talking about, you are classifying matter into pure substances as well as mixtures. Pure substances, they are further divided into elements as well as compounds. Elements are further divided into metals, non-metals as well as metalloids. Compounds are classified into organic as well as inorganic. So this is what we call it as the classification of matter. Now, individually speaking, what is an element, what is a compound, what is homogeneous mixture, what are heterogeneous mixtures? At the same time, metals, non-metals and metalloids. The first thing, when talking about the case of elements, right? So what are elements? Now, element of a particular substance, any substance that you are taking. So the element that is present in the substance, this is what you call it as the basic substance that is present in a particular material. The basic element, the simplest form, the smallest form, that is what you are calling it as element. And this particular element is further undividable, is not divisible. The elements, to the further extent, they are undivisible. That is what you are calling it as atoms. These particular elements, they are made of, typically each and every atom. Elements are made of elements, they are typically made of each and every individual atoms. Each and every individual atoms. For example, when I am talking about the case of oxygen, it means that I am talking specifically only about oxygen atoms. I'm not including, in that particular case, I'm not including the case of carbon or hydrogen or sulfur or phosphorus. We are not including that one. We are simply talking only about the case of oxygen atoms. So we're talking about the case of element. It is a basic substance. The basic substance which is highly indivisible. At the same time, each and every element, it includes individual atoms. So this particular atom is further and undivisible. We all know that. Atoms, we cannot divide them further. That is a basic element, that is a basic substance. That is the smallest substance which is present in every particular matter, the smallest one. That is the reason why we are saying that it is highly undivisible. Right? At the same time, when talking about the case of elements, you talk about the case of hydrogen is an element, right? Or else you talk about the case of oxygen. I'm talking about the different gases, right? Hydrogen, or else you talk about the case of oxygen, or else you talk about the different metals like your iron, copper, silver, so on, the different cases. So each and everything, hydrogen, when talking only about hydrogen, it's an element. When you're talking only about the case of oxygen, it's as an element. Right? At the same time, when talking about the case of compounds, what is this particular compound? Right? The mixture of two or more elements. So whenever we are combining hydrogen and oxygen, resulting in the formation of H2O. Whenever you are combining carbon and oxygen, resulting in the formation of carbon dioxide, or else sulfur and oxygen, resulting in the formation of sulfur dioxide. This is a compound, this is a compound, this is a compound. And a material, a substance which is formed by the combination of two or more elements, that is what you are calling it as compounds, which are further divided into organic as well as inorganic. Further divided into organic as well as inorganic. At the same time, coming back to the case of elements. So when you are talking about the case of elements you are further dividing them into metals, non-metals as well as metalloids. Right. So when talking about the case of first one, we'll talk about the case of metals. So when talking about the case of metals, right here. When talking about the case of metals, generally the metals are good conductors of electricity. The metals generally, when we are saying, they are good conductors of what? The good conductors of electricity. At the same time, heat. Good conductors of electricity as well as heat. They have the ability to allow the flow of electricity. They have the ability to transfer the heat from one point to other point. That is what you are calling it as metals. They are good conductors of electricity as well as heat. At the same time, When talking about the case of metals, so metals possess certain amount of properties. Metals possess certain amount of properties. So metals are first one, they are highly lustrous, or else you can even say they possess luster. Metals possess luster, nothing but the shining nature. Nothing but the shining nature. At the same time, metals are malleable, which means you can convert them into thin sheets. Now, for example, suppose that whenever you are going to any particular sweet shop, right? So you find n number of sweets. You find different varieties of sweets. Some of them, they are covered with a white colored layer. That particular white colored layer, basically it is supposed to be silver. Basically it is supposed to be silver. But it seems that as on date, some of the sweet shops, they are using even aluminium also. Right? So basically it is supposed to be silver. At the same time, some of these sweets, they even possess gold as a thin foil which is present on that one. Right? So the reason is that there in that particular case, you are able to convert a small 1 gram of silver or as 1 gram of gold into a very thin foil, such that the moment you place that particular sweet in the mouth, it starts melting. Suppose that if someone is giving you 1 gram of gold, literally 1 gram of gold or 1 gram of silver, and ask us to eat it, is it possible? No way. But the same silver, the same gold, when you are converting that one to a small thin sheet or thin foil, the moment you are using it on a sweet, it is easily digestible. It is easily digestible. So that particular phenomena where we are converting silver or gold into thin foils, that particular thing is what you call it as the malleability. The property of a particular metal to get converted into thin foils or thin sheets, that is what you call it as the malleability. At the same time, we're talking about a property called as ductility. Conversion of a particular metal into thin wires. That is what you're calling it as ductility. Now, for example, suppose that I'm talking about the case of wires, the electrical wires that we are using at home. If at all you remove the insulation, you will find some copper wires. Depending upon the usage, the number of copper wires will be present in that. Suppose that if at all you are using that one for the case of an ordinary LED bulb, small size LED bulb, the thickness of the copper wire which is present in that will be very small, will be very less. But suppose that if at all you are using that one, you are using a copper wire for the case of your refrigerator or else AC, right? Or else for the case of your washing machines. So there in that particular case, you will be using a thick wire. So in that particular thick wire, if you remove the insulation and see it, you find some around 15 to 20 copper wires. Individual 15 to 20 copper wires are maybe more than that, right? Now there in that particular case, you are able to convert a particular metal into thin wires. That particular phenomena is what you calling it as ductility. And gold is a material which is having the maximum amount of ductility.